Step 20 is the reports. So the very last step after we've done step 1 through 19 is the one to run the reports. We want to show tangible evidence that we have the information we need to convey to the end user. So we want to verify all the information and make sure it's viewable. We want to put it in we of course want to do a print preview, make sure on the Gantt chart views we're one wide, it's viewable. Remember the reports are viewed by different people and used by different people, so it's very important they're put in the correct format. So let's go ahead and, we verified that all the columns are shown correctly. Let's see. We got all the columns that we need for a baseline schedule. Some people say let's go ahead and take out the actual start and actual finish because we don't need it in the baseline. I say maybe it's probably good to have in there, but to make the reports a little bit more readable, we can take those out. Now that gives us more viewing on the Gantt chart view. So we'll go ahead and do File, Print Preview, and when we do the print, and I'm going to move the view window here, when we do the print preview, you'll see here that it has everything laid out in an early start format. We probably want to change. We want to make sure it's a landscape. We want to make sure we fit everything to one wide so that everything we can see on one page. It can be as many pages tall, but we don't want it more than to be one wide because it makes it very difficult to read. Tabloid, which is 11 by 17, that's typical for the schedules we produce. We can slim up the margins, of course, as close as possible. The headers, we can put text in, automatically. We have, the project name comes, by default, but we can put headers. We can put it in the left, middle, and right-hand side. Footers, we can put information here. We can put in here the legend. We can take out the legend. We can put dates. We can put logos. We can do a lot of different things. And the options, we want to go from project start to project finish, but we also can do numerous different things. When we do the updates, we may want to go from the data date going forward or whatever. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And now we have one wide and we have a couple tall. You can see, you can go down and look at the other tall. What I don't like is that it cuts off there. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well the date is, this is December of 17. I'll go ahead and just click on this, and I'll say instead of having project finish being the last one, I'll put a custom date there, and I'll put like today's. I'll put it out there a little bit, and that way when we go down, you can actually see the names. So that's one way of doing it. Okay, so and I'll go ahead and do it. Maybe that's a little too far out. So maybe what we'll do is we'll go back to our custom date. Will be like kind of take it back a little bit so we can make use of this space as much as possible and still be able to see the names. And I'm going to move the window up here. In the corner, you'll see in here, you'll have this is the page layout right function. That brings that dialog box up. And then, of course, you can go up or down pages, and to zoom in and zoom out. So that covers, doing a standard Gantt chart view. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and say, instead of doing just a standard Gantt chart view, we're going to go ahead and do a critical path. So we'll go File, Print Preview. Well, actually, let's go back. We want to filter by critical path, and we hit OK. And now it's going to only show us the critical path items. We'll go Print Preview. And then now we see only critical path task that we can print off. Now when we hit print, it's going to say, what do you want to do print to? And typically, obviously, we can print to anything. I'm print to a PDF. Make sure we're 11 by 17. Remember the default settings. We want to have a landscape, we want one wide, and we want to have a tabloid format. So that is a critical path schedule, Gantt chart schedule. What if, what if we wanted, these are all project management views. Say that we want to have it what we call a continuous flow. What we can do is we can go ahead and minimize the pre-construction, and we could leave it open or closed, but then we can get rid of all the WBSs, or we'll just do the top level one. Okay. And then we'll get rid of the filter, because make sure you turn off the filter, because otherwise you can't see all the task. We're going to make sure it's started by early start. And we go File, Print Preview. And now we can see all the tasks, and this is called continuous flow. So this allows us to see from the start to the end all tasks continuously. And this is helpful for like a superintendent or for us to do review. The problem with this is that submittals and all pre-construction is inside of all the construction tasks, and that can make it difficult to read. So for project superintendents, I typically will go and I'll say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and show all the WBSs again. And then I'll minimize, any pre-construction. So, and we'll do only level 1, or excuse me, a level 2, which just shows the top 2 summary task. Let me see. And we could sort it by, we only want to see the top 2 or the top 3. We don't want to see all of them, but we could only do say the much different from say the Microsoft project. We could go ahead and we could only show specific, as I said, specific activities, like whether they're at construction or whether, regardless of what they're at. So we'll go ahead and save all. And, we could minimize that. The easiest way to do this is minimize it. Go to only show a couple levels, it's like 2 levels. Oh, excuse me, 3 levels, depending on how many levels of you have within your schedule. And then you can go from start and go print preview, and this is only going to show construction task. This is helpful for a superintendent because he can see exactly what's going to occur, on construction related tasks. Continuous flow. Okay, so beyond continuous flow, I've shown you the banded chart. This is called a banded Gantt, okay, where we have all the tasks shown at all WBS levels. We have a banded Gantt chart, okay, where everything's banded by summary task. We've done a continuous flow, which only shows where we got rid of some WBSs to show a continuous flow of activities between CSI divisions, or between it's basically by removing some WBSs. The network diagram. Now we can go click right here, activity network, and we can see the network diagram. This is not all that helpful, in my opinion, but some people like to see it. You can click on individual levels, or you can click over top. You can go File, Print Preview, and you can see it. And you can see it's very difficult to read, to get it all in one format. In order to make this work, you'd probably have to go like a large size, like like an A3 or A4. And then you're gonna have to go, okay, I want it to fit on 2 wide or whatever. And you can see it can be difficult to read. You can't even see it. But some people like to have this report, it's just a network diagram report. You can zoom in on things, you can zoom out. That's one of the reports sometimes people want to see. Activity network diagram report. Then we'll go back and we'll look. We'll look at the bar chart, and then we'll go to individual reports. Now this is nice about Primavera, much different. Probably one of the greatest tools you're going to use within Primavera, probably the greatest asset that Primavera has over Microsoft Project, in my opinion. So I'll go to Reports, Tools, Reports, and these are some standard reports that come with the software. And some of the reports that I like to see, and there's a lot of different reports in here, but the ones that I like to see is like Earned Value Report. You go down to, say, Cost. You can see numerous different reports that are done there. Cost, you have Activity Earned Value. You click on it, and you'll simply run the report, and it'll automatically say, okay, how do you want to run this? I want to do a preview, and you see an activity report is done by cost. There's a lot of different reports, a lot of different report modules, a lot of different ways we can save reports. It summarizes things. In my opinion, it's excellent, and this is really what sets Primavera apart from Microsoft Project. Earned Value Report's one of them, but you can run a total float report, you can run a logic report. It all depends on what the customer wants for you. Standard reports I know that people like to see are the banded Gantt chart, the continuous flow, a network diagram, an earned value report, which I've shown you all of those now, a critical path report also with that, if I hadn't mentioned that, and the last one is the narrative. But they could also want, as I said before, you could make your own reports, and we're not going to kind of go into that too much because it comes with a lot of standard reports. You don't need to, but you can actually click here on plus and make a new report and say what you want it to be, and what information do you want in there. A lot of extremely helpful information. The columns, the group sort function, the filters, numerous different ways to create this report, a report that you need. So we'll go ahead and cancel that, and we can create individual reports. The last thing that I want to go through is I want to go through how you're going to save this. So we'll go through and we'll say, okay, I want to save this report. I'll just go File, Export. Remember, this is a database tool, so you don't save as, you export it. You want to export it as Primavera. You can do it either Primavera Contract or Primavera. I do 16.2. We'll go ahead and click OK, go through Project. You can name it right here, right? What's the name is it going to be? Where are you exporting it to? All that information. Right here, you can change the name of it. And what I like to do is I put, okay, I'll put baseline schedule warehouse, and then I always put a date, and I'll just put a random date like 1/1/2019. Okay, so I have identified that this is the baseline schedule for this project and a date. Now this could be the baseline initial, or it could be the baseline preliminary. Preliminary is the first 90 days, but this is the initial, this is the entire project schedule. So we're going to go ahead and say where it's going to be saved at. Hit finish, and it automatically exports it. So that's how you import and export out of the software. Now say that you get a file, and then you can't open it for some reason. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to open a file that is not saved in the correct version. So say I get this file right here, and I can't open it because it's a different version. If you open it with Notepad, you want to look at other applications, the Notepad function, and you simply go in here, and at the top you can change the version. You could say it's 6.0 or whatever version you're running, and then you simply save it, close it, and save it. And now when you open it with the software and you import it, it's going to be open in that version. So that's a handy dandy way of doing it. So that covers step number 20, all the reports. Now you have completed the baseline schedule.